Hey friends, just going to do an update on some picks I've accumulated the last few months. And because many of these, not all, but many may not have been seen in the videos that already contain them given their particular category. So we have pattern picks we're looking at right there, mostly 30s through 50s. An assortment of mosaics, including rare DeAndrea crayons and those more modern. Some really nice celluloids, 1920s through the 50s, most of them. There's a really nice large claw 24, DeAndrea number 24 from the 1920s catalog. Some rare cork grip picks. That one there is amongst the rarest of them all, and just recently discovered this year. And these are noteworthy because if the shoulders on them indicate they're from about the 1940s or even 1930s. They're not 1920s though, because that die used for the 351s back then, which weren't even called 351s, has even more tapered shoulders. Some really nice wheat straw and whiskey on ice, Coke on ice, other cork grips. This cork grip's most likely from DeAndrea's World War II era, when they briefly switched over to agglomerated cork or granulated cork. So let's go down here now. This is Fife and Nichols. This is the Los Angeles music store that so many artists from the Wrecking Crew visited. Carol Kay talks about Fife and Nichols. There are some exquisitely rare Barney Kessel picks, and these are about early 50s. This one here is a celluloid. Usually seen without any print in the 1940s. This may in fact go back that early too. But I don't put any of these Barney Kessels into the 60s. These are all early 50s to mid 50s. A couple of really nice A&Rs there too. And I got to tell you, many of these have come from my good friend Brian. Fortunately, he is the pick hunter, and he finds many great picks, and those he wants to remove from the collection, he'll open up to me. I can't get this Maxwell in focus at the moment. There it is, really nice 1930s, 1940s era Maxwell, as well as those two. Now coming down here, again, more great picks from my friend Brian. We have this entire series of non-skid picks, both Bruno and Gretsch. I can't get that in focus either, but Bruno and Gretsch distributed these going back to as early as the 1920s, mid-20s. Here's a very rare Martin, extremely rare Martin from 1930s. See if it shows up in the light here. There you go. Unfortunately, it does have a little carving on the back, depreciating its value, but the chances of anyone coming across one of those are next to none. So we're going to move over here now to these Gibsons, and I want to point out these two Gibsons here. Gibson was the only one to offer these. They don't have the Gibson name, but they show up exclusively in the Gibson catalog. And here we have many impressed logos straight across, and some other logos, arch logos right there. And I want to point out that the arch logos, while seemingly more rare than the straight logos, don't necessarily mean that they're the oldest of the old, because these two, in this case, we have a straight logo, and it goes back to the 1920s, this particular pick here. And I believe I have an arch logo. Several of these arch logos, in fact, go back to the 1920s, 30s, because they are actually tapered by hand. And here's an extremely rare, the Gibson, first offered around 1917, 1914 even, I believe. But there it is, the Gibson, amongst the most highly prized of Gibson picks. All right, now it's in good focus. And up here we have some exquisite Red Arrow picks. If I could just get the logo on one of them so you know what the logo looks like. Yes, there's Red Arrow. Didn't come into focus the way I wanted, but you get a better look right there. That's why I'm filming this without my camera mounted by hand, so you could see some of these impressed logos. Incredible group of Red Arrows here. Coming up here, we have a rare 1930s German cup grip. And then we got the Birdwise once again, going back to the teens. Exquisitely rare Lang and Reeser. This pick sold for $700 at one time, over $700 on eBay. It's that rare. Then we have these exquisite George Barn picks up here. Some new Gene Autry editions as well. And coming over here, we have some genuine DeAndrea tortoiseshell from the 1940s. And there's a Santos Superb from 1926. And there we have the 1931 B&D, another one there. And one exquisite cup grip there from the U.S., another one with wear. Here's a rare 1930s German cup grip, the U.S. DeAndrea Crescent grip, 1920s vacuum grip. And here's some more printed picks, not from the Golden Age. Those we just all saw were from the Golden Age prior to 1950. But these are also quite rare. You could see that fender I kept, no logo, or correction, no registered trademark R, but it just happens to be a very exquisite celluloid, so I wanted to keep that. And these two, say 1833, are actually very rare Martins from the 1970s. Very rare Ovation, top notch, and some Gibsons from the 1970s, the Raindrop logo. So that was just some of what's been put into the collection the last 3 months. So I wanted them so you could see them and have them inventoried here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me, friends.